One of the more interesting ideas that happened between the early and high Middle Ages was the idea of scholasticism. Before, they only had monasticism, which meant they only focused on one set of ideas. Back then, these were ideas about God and society and the teachings of the Catholic Church. Nobody questioned these ideas. The basic process was to see how elegantly and articulately and logically you could present these ideas. But scholasticism did the opposite. They purposely found as many contradictions around any theme as they possibly could. They would actively seek different ideas. They would actively seek different ways of thinking about things. They would actively seek as many diverse ideas as they could. Then they would line up all these different ideas both against and for any central theme and get to work. They would use pure logic to search for the truth. They would purposely get rid of any preordained ideas. They would purposely remove any foregone conclusions. The goal was to only seek logical truth in the abstract, no matter how it made them feel. If you study algebra, one of the most important concepts is how you simplify your answer. If you study algebra and take a test but don't simplify your answer, you won't get full credit, because only by taking your answer and making it as simple as possible can you use algebra to understand the natural world. Our natural world doesn't run on unsimplified equations. The mathematics that describe the natural world are elegant and concise. This is why if you have an equation, but the equation isn't as simplified as it could be, this will seem like nonsense. Only when you simplify things will you understand their power. One book that has, for pretty obvious reasons, become very popular recently is 1984. A lot of people are drawing similarities between the metaphorical world in the book and our current government. One idea from the book is doublethink, of being able to hold two contradictory thoughts in mind at once. There is a very powerful technique in hypnosis, one that isn't being taught anymore, one that may be responsible for some of the most controversial figures in history. It involves taking an inventory of your thoughts around a central theme, like being able to make money, or being able to be persuasive, or being able to think creatively, or being able to think seductively, or being able to awaken your latent psychic skills. Skills like telekinesis, mental time travel, and teleportation. The idea is to get into a deep trance, and within this deep trance, go deep inside and spend some time inside your mind. Shut down all concerns for external sensory inputs, and take inventory of all your thoughts, beliefs, and ideas around this theme, and put all the positive ideas, beliefs, and thoughts on one side of your mind, and put all the negative ideas, beliefs, and thoughts on the other side of your mind, and then one by one find and cancel out all opposing ideas. This will take time, but when you are finished, the results will be extraordinary. You will discover much more processing power. Your brain will think much more quickly. Your brain will think much more creatively. Your brain will think much more powerfully. Your brain will think much more expansively. When politicians hold two completely opposite ideas in mind and believe they are both true, this is very, very dangerous. They'll tend to believe things like you need to kill people to save them, or you need to protect freedom by destroying civil rights, or you need to help the economy by going further into debt, or you think you can gain trust by lying to people. One of the biggest misconceptions of algebra is that it's one subject. And once you take this one subject, once you master algebra, you can forget about it and go on to something more important like calculus. But every area of science, every area of mathematics relies heavily on algebra. If you can't master algebra, it's hard to master anything. If you don't study algebra correctly, it's hard to study anything correctly. If you don't fully understand algebra and see this as a very useful tool, it is very easy to wander the earth in a mental daze, only believing what people decide to tell you. But if you master algebra, you will have mastered the art of thinking. If you master the art of thinking, you will understand everything. Once the idea of scholastic scholasticism took hold, the intellectuals of the Middle Ages started to study things beyond the teachings of the church. This is what led scholars of the Middle Ages to discover and appreciate the works of Plato and Aristotle. This led to the university system, which led to the Enlightenment and later the scientific revolution. So in a very linear way, the more you actively seek contradictions, the more likely you'll find more and more ultimate truth. And as has been said many, many times, only the truth can set you free.